In money matters, the rand has weakened against a strong dollar so far today as investors await a central bank decision on monetary policy later this week. The dollar index, which measures the currency against 6 major rivals, was up more than 0.2% in early trade. Bianca Botes is the executive director at Citadel Global, and she joins us now to talk us through the latest market moves. Thank you very much, Bianca, for your time this afternoon. The rand, as we mentioned, is weaker against a strong dollar today as investors await the central bank decision on monetary policy later this week. Talk us through the latest moves.
Good afternoon to you and your viewers at home. The rand is currently largely taking its cues from the global backdrop, where uncertainty and fear around the banking sector remains prominent. In essence, participants are still favoring safe haven assets that can be witnessed in the dollar index, gold prices, as well as the Japanese yen, and that is typically to the detriment of emerging market assets, which is bound to be riskier, such as the rand, for instance. We can expect volatility to remain in place as the situation unfolds. And then, as you mentioned, we are also waiting for the Reserve Bank later this week to make their interest rate announcement. And that will also filter into the rand. But mostly the activity that we are seeing at the moment is based on the global backdrop.
Well, we're expecting a lot of economic data this week, but let's take a look at this. The quarterly labor employment statistics expected out tomorrow. Should we expect continued weakness on that front?
We expect that the unemployment in South Africa is due to remain high, given the current economic situation of South Africa. However, when we start looking at the rand's performance, we don't anticipate any notable fallout in the rand on the back of this.
Okay, so looking at Thursday, the Reserve Bank is expected to hike interest rates by another 25 basis points. Your expectations and outlook when you take a look at that crystal ball?
Following the latest CPI reading that indicated that South African inflation is still well above the top end of the band, which is obviously 3 to 6%, we expect that the STAR will hike rates by 25 basis points on Thursday, in line with broader market expectations. However, we do anticipate that the STAR will likely look at pausing rates following this announcement on Thursday, obviously dependent on economic data and the inflation outcomes.
Okay, the Finance Minister has placed Habib Overseas Bank under curatorship to deal with their governance, compliance and operational failures. Help us make sense of that.
I think what is critical for South Africans to understand is that the fallout on Habib Overseas Bank is not a function of the current banking crisis that we are seeing unfold in the rest of the world, and that the local banking sector remains robust and healthy. However, the SARB recently found that the Habib Overseas Bank have been flouting financial sector regulations as well as exchange control rulings. And in that effect, also getting into a bit of trouble in terms of how they are going to meet their future obligations. That has caused the Finance Minister to place the bank under curatorship of PwC. So it's very important just to understand the differentiation. This is a regulatory and compliance concern, not a banking sector concern.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Executive Director at Citadel Global, Bianca Botes.